Hi everyone, I am Animal Lover, a card game player from Singapore, and today I'll be doing a review of the top 8 deck list in Singapore's Ultra League Championships for the Ultraman Card Game. For those who are new to this, the Ultraman series from Japan now has a card game. It was released on the October of 2024 and their gameplay revolves around setting cards and winning lanes. The player with at least 3 lanes won will win the game. Although simple in idea, the execution has quite a bit of depth to it, which makes this TCG quite unique to its competitors. If you're interested in learning more about the UCG, I recommend checking out the official UCG website to learn more. Before we get into the review, I'd like to point out that Singapore's championships was on the 8th of November this year. This video is about a month too late. The meta has stabilized and a new product even came out for Tiga and Blazer decks. But for some reason, the official Twitter page for the Ultraman Card Game in English did not release Singapore's deck list, although they did it for other Ultra League championships. As you can see, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Thailand, Philippines, all of their deck lists were released, including their links. But for some reason, Singapore never got the opportunity. In fact, if you want to go and see Singapore's deck list, you'd have to go to the official website and look for it yourself, which is kind of weird. Hence, the reason for this video. Besides a more convenient review for the viewers, I thought it would be interesting to dive into what Singaporean players built a week after Booster Pack number 5 came out. Yes, BP05 was legal for tournament play, even though for Singaporeans, it came out a week before. To say that it worried Singaporean players is a bit of an understatement. People were scrambling to get their cards and everyone was hitting each other up to test their decks to get ready for this Ultra League Championship. It was a crazy week. But enough rambling. Let's see what these Singaporeans brought to the Ultra League Championships and let's see whether their call was correct. I'm sure you will be surprised as well. It was a 57-player tournament and after 6 grueling rounds of Swiss, these 8 players made it on top. Let's begin by reviewing from the number 8 player. Apparently he does not have a IGN, but right off the bat, we already have 2 very interesting decks. His first deck being a Arc Ginga, and his second deck is a Mabius Zag. These 2 decks literally did not use any BP05 cards, and it is absolutely insane because for those of you who do not know, BP05 introduced a new level in Ultraman which are level 4s, and everybody was talking about how it's going to be the meta-defining strategy, and this guy literally just said, screw it, I'll use everything that I'm more familiar with rather than going to a new strategy that we all have about a week of practice. And to top it all off, this guy did not even use the what we would like to say normal variant of the deck. What do I mean by this? If you were to look at the previous championships before BP05, you would see that they would usually circle around Arc Zag, Arc Hikari, Arc Dyna, but this guy came in and used Arc Ginga, which was actually pretty meta in Singapore's context during BP03. But even then, Arc Ginga would prioritize using this card, Ultraman Arc Galaxy Armor, which its ability is to activate and swap level 3 Arc cards with another power or speed type Arc, and their target to swap would usually be this card, which is its ability is giving any Ultra Hero plus 1000 BP, and it would help a lot of players get over either the 18k barrier or get to the 18k barrier, which a lot of cards weren't very good in countering back then. But this guy did not do that. this guy used the starter deck for Arc and made a completely new variant of Arc Ginga and took it all the way to top 8. The next deck was even more ridiculous, which is Mabius Z. You don't see any more Mabius users ever since it's banned, and this guy came in with a Mabius Z and took it all the way to top 8. Upon closer inspection, you can really see how these Mabius cards and these Z cards pair so well with each other. After the Mabius cards got banned, besides its consistency, Mabius lacked its discard zone. These Z cards help with that. The level 2 Scene Searcher, the new level 3 from BP04, and even this level 3. They discard and help start up the Mabius engine, hence the fall of round 2 Mabius scene. Additionally, the new level 3 Z from BP04 allows the addition of 1k BP to any Ultra Hero on board, which allows all of these cards to pass the 18k barrier which they lack. Nothing but respect for this player. This guy did his homework and he made it work. Now in 7th place, we have IGN name of Darren, and he took a Arc Dyna and a Ginga Victory to the championships. Let's talk about his Arc Dyna deck first. As you can see, the modification from the standard BP04 list is that he added the Dyna Strong type, which is the new card from BP05, where if you were to activate it, you exile a scene card and you plus 2k BP to any Ultra Hero that is on board. And I think this list is great because now it raises the ceiling for Arc Dyna decks to a higher level now that you're able to plus 2k BP to any heroes on the board. Overall, a really solid list. I got nothing much to say. On to his next deck list, which is his Ginga Victory list. Back in BP04, besides Baltan, Ginga Victory was a solid A, maybe even S tier. It was second to Baltan. And honestly, those lists in BP04 was a perfect Ginga Victory list. But in this case, Darren decided to add the BP05 cards into them. The one that gives 1000 BP to any armed victories on the board. So that's interesting. He decided to modify it and looks like it did him well. I think an interesting thing about this deck is that there are 8 scenes in this deck, which is pretty crazy for a Ginga Victory deck. Most Ginga Victory decks would probably run around 6, maybe 4 of the scene that changes type, and maybe 2 of the Ginga scene. But other than that, it's usually not really high on the priority list for Ginga Victory. So this is a unique take on the Ginga Victory deck, and looks like this unique take helped him get into the top 8. Overall, another pretty solid list, and a new perspective on how Ginga Victory can also be built differently. Next up, we have Infinity Cry in 6th place, bringing a Omega deck and a very interesting Tiga Orb deck. For Infinity Cry's first deck list, it is Omega, and understandably so. BP05 has offered tons and tons of support for Omega, and it is currently in contender to be the best deck of the format. So we'll be seeing more Omegas moving forward. I think one unique thing about this deck is that he does not play any level 5 Trigaron cards, even though he plays the new triple rare Omega card that on play allows you to level up a level 5 Meteor Kaiju on board with a level 6 from this card. I'm guessing his deck idea for this is full gas. The Trigaron is simply there to increase the consistency. It's simply a searcher for the good cards, and he plans to destroy his opponent or maybe overwhelm his opponent via Reckiness and Belginus. And obviously, since Omega is the best deck, a Zeton in there for good measures. On to Infinity Cry's second deck, which I feel is his more interesting deck, which is Tiga Orb. Now, I'm a big fan of Orb, and I really wanted Tiga Orb to work, but I couldn't find the correct ratios. So after reviewing Infinity Cry's second deck, I'm ashamed that I didn't think of this sooner. This guy is an absolute genius. The only AWP cards that he have in here were the level 2 Thunder Breasters, which were the shufflers, and the level 3 Thunder Breaster, which on play, if you have lesser cards than your opponent, strictly lesser, you will be able to add 2k BP to itself and 2k BP to any other Ultra Hero. And this works perfectly with Tiga, considering that it is almost a mono deck for Tiga. Tiga will run out of resources extremely quickly, being able to maximize Thunder Breaster's abilities to its full capacity. And obviously, 2 Zetons in there for good measure. What I feel is also another interesting thing is that he only runs 3 scenes in this list. So, this deck idea is really similar to his Omega deck, which I believe is just full gas. Put everything out with your Tiga and finally finish it off with a Thunder Breaster, as that is probably where the extra 2k BP comes from. Overall, 2 pretty solid deck choices. It's a full aggro 2 deck that I wish could have only been in top 4 because I really wanted an AWP to be in top 4. On to the 5th place, Kiet, bringing a Gaia Argul deck and a Tiga Zek deck. Super excited to cover this because I am a massive Gaia Argul fan as well. So let's jump into his first deck, the Gaia Argul deck. For Gaia Argul players, this deck is a bit unique. It has its bouncers, it has its scene cards for its offensive capabilities, but Kiet introduces a few unique cards. One of which is this level 3 card, which on play returns a scene to its opponent's hand. Although not usually seen, I can definitely understand where Kiet is coming from. With scenes becoming stronger and stronger with every new release, it is only understandable that you will want to get rid of a scene before an opponent is able to use them. Another unique thing is the number of level 1s he has. He only has 7 of them, which isn't the number I would usually go for. But considering he made 5th place, I think this 7 really worked well with the consistency for this deck. On to his second deck, the Tiga Zek deck. 2 powerful Ultra Heroes, and considering Tiga's lack of ability to add any BP, Zek comes in as the perfect pairing to help him overcome mirror matches. A really unique thing about this build though is the fact that he included the new vanilla from BP05, the double stack 14k Tiga. Also, his scene cards, he chose not to run Legend of Stone, but instead chose to run the starter deck scene, which adds plus 1000 BP to any Tiga, Dyna or Gaia. I think you can really see the whole idea of this deck is to help make up for Tiga's weaknesses, which is a lack of additional BP. Hence the addition of the scene card and the Z cards, which worked out super well. Overall, 2 great deck choices. A Tiga build which makes up for its weaknesses, and a Gaia Argul build, which if you played this game long enough, you would know that no one thought it could make it. Now on to the big boys, the top 4, with 4th place being iDrakey, bringing an almost mono Jeet deck and a Omega deck. Let's look at iDrakey's pseudo mono Jeet deck first. Obviously, if you look closely, you can see that there is a singular copy of the starter deck 0. And seeing that he plays a Zeton himself, I'm pretty sure he's aware of how dangerous Zeton is in a mono environment. Hence, he probably played this 1-0 in order to prevent himself from being Zeton and as a bonus to catch some basics. Other than the 2 non-Jeet cards, this is a fairly standard Jeet build. With the new introduction of the level 4, I thought Jeet would be stronger, but when I personally tested it, it wasn't that great consistency wise, but clearly iDrakey made it work, so congratulations to him. On to his deck B, which is understandably Omega, as previously mentioned. In fact, it is also the same full gas build as what Infinity Cry did. I think one thing that is unique about this, which is how he ran 3 Trigarons instead of 4, and that the total Meteor Kaiju numbers would add up to actually 16. Maybe 16 is actually the best number for Omega builds. Another thing that differs iDrakey and Infinity Cry's build is that iDrakey includes 3 of the starter deck Omega card instead of Infinity Cry's 1, which goes to show it could be more gas than Infinity Cry's build, because this is the one that drives the Omega level 3. Overall, obviously a very strong Omega build and an unexpected Jeet top. In fact, it is the only Jeet we have seen so far and we will see so far. There is no other Jeet in top 8 other than iDrakey, clearly showing his prowess as a player. On to 3rd place, we have Code, whose deck A is Belia Juggler's Juggler and deck B being Omega. Looking at Code's deck A first, even though it states it's Belia Juggler's Juggler, it's more accurate to say that it's Belia Juggler's Juggler Kaiju. You can see that the deck is neither skewed towards Belia or Juggler's Juggler. It has an equal amount of representations of Belia, Jugglers, and Kaijus. You can see that there's the Zeton to counter the Omega, the Killoroid to counter the Tiga meta, a Mephisto for a handy minus 1000 BP for Ultra Heroes, 2 Alien Metrons, and 1 Getanador. And it's pretty obvious the plan that he's going for here, making it his deck A, which is it's just anti-Omega or any anti-Tiga. Yeah? What is interesting about this deck, I feel, is that he chose to include 4 of the Juggler scene and 0 Belia scenes. I'm guessing, considering his build idea, where it is pretty easy to get Jugglers out and to probably take the lead as Kaijus, the Juggler scene is more important than the Belia scene of changing types, where almost nothing in here, except for the Mephisto and maybe the level 6 Belia, requires you to change a type. On to Code's deck B, and as you can see, it's a fairly standard build with Zetons to counter a mirror match, 16 Meteor Kaijus with no level 5 Trigarons, even though he's running the triple rare Omega. What is interesting about his build this time though is that he has the round 4 new Omega scene, and that could be the recipe that allowed this deck to get top 3. Or not. It is 1 card in a 50 card deck after all, but it does give an option for a round 4 if you do draw this card. Overall, we can see where Code was going with these 2 deck ideas, with Omega being the sort of best deck, and with the Belia, Juggler's Juggler, and Kaiju to counter any other Ultraman that stands in their way. The first Ultraman counter deck that we have seen so far. It's easy to see how he's gotten 3rd place. Finally reaching top 2, with DX having Tiga Blazer as his deck A and Gaia Argul as his deck B. Regarding his deck A, I think it's only natural we see a Tiga Blazer on top. All the way back in BP01, Tiga Blazer was one of the few meta decks there, and since Tiga got so much support now, it's only natural that Tiga Blazer comes back. Looking at his build, we can see that there is a Zeton to counter Omegas, and we can see that his Blazer ratio is a bit different. Instead of running 4 searchers, he chose to run 3 with 1 revealer, and his level 3s, he's only running 2 of the triple rares, while the other 2 level 3s are the ones that catches basic. A bit of an odd choice, but we can clearly see his main powerhouse right here is his Tiga cards, and Blazer is simply there for him to be able to activate Scarred. On to his deck B, however, this guy is a mad lad. The first Gaia Argul to make it into Grand Finals, which is insane. His build also widely varies from Kiet's build in 5th place. As you can see, DX has 6 scenes with 2 of the round 4 scenes, and even a resurrection of Argul, which Kiet does not run at all. He also runs only 6 level 1s, 1 lesser than Kiet's. His Argul cards are also different. Instead of running the new BP05 Argul card that allows you to deduct 2000 BP to any Gaia or Argul opponent, he chooses to run the BP02 Argul card, which allows you to BP up provided you return a card to your hand. Maybe this should have been the way that Gaia Argul players should be playing their deck. Or not. There's no real way of knowing, but all we know is that this guy is a giga chat for bringing a deck like this all the way to grand finals. Congratulations DX. Finally, we have the champion deck. From Jimmy Kong Theory, we have deck A as Omega and deck B as Belia Kaiju, which is the opposite order of what Code arranged. Let's take a look at his deck A Omega first. He is the first player to vary build from the rest of the Omega players in the tournament. Other than the usual Zeton, he is the first player to run 3 Trigaron cards, as well as a total of 18 Meteor Kaiju cards. He is also the first one to run 2 of the round 4 Omega scene. With all this increase in Meteor Kaiju cards and scene cards, you can see that he sacrificed space for his Omega cards, which explains why he only has 6 level 1 Omega cards compared to the rest who had at least 7 or 8. Maybe it's because he decided to add more Meteor Kaijus that his round 4 scene was able to trigger much more often than the rest, which could be the reason why he won in the first place. Obviously, we have no real way of knowing, but so far, this has been the one Omega deck that has differed from the standardized build. On to his deck B, this is a true Belia Kaiju deck. And if you're lost on how this deck works, so am I. But I'll try my best to explain and in figuring out how this deck works. I think the biggest change we see from Code's build is that he runs absolutely 0 jugglers at all, and he instead runs 5 kings. And in order for 5 kings passive to be turned on, you need 5 different kaiju names in the discard. And I figured that that's why he has so many one-off kaijus in this deck. But these one-offs don't matter if you don't discard them. That's where the Belia cards come in. There is the Scene Searcher, which allows you to discard 5 cards, and there is also the level 7 Belia, which allows you to discard from hand. With so many one-offs in your hand, you can discard any and it will contribute to 5 kings passive. Not to mention, I feel like another key card from here is actually the Baltons. This Balton card allows you to activate it once per turn and mill 3 cards from both you and your opponent's deck, which is how you can fill your discard with all your one-off kaijus and activate 5 kings passive real fast. And now you may be wondering, but what if I don't draw 5 kings? Well, that's what the other one-offs are for. You can either catch them by changing the types with the scene, or with Belia on board, you're able to discard a card to BP up most of these cards, as most of these cards have an extra BP indicator. You can see that this Belia Kaiju deck has actually 2 win conditions instead of 1. It is either getting 5 kings out and overpowering your opponent with no way to deal with it, or overpowering them with Kaiju cards along with your Belia, which explains the 2 of the round 4 scenes that he added. Jimmy Kong Fury truly built a work of art. What looks like a bunch of nonsense ended up being the winner deck. You can really see that this deck was meant to counter every Ultraman there is, but I feel that it is also to counter every Kaiju there is, because it runs 5 kings, where compared to other Kaiju decks, they're not really running 5 kings. With 2 such innovative decks, there's no one to be the champion other than Jimmy Kong Fury. Congratulations, and I hope you can put Singapore on the map in Japan's tournament. I hope you enjoyed this review on Singapore's top 8 deck. I would like to give some closing thoughts before I go. Obviously, this is a week into BP05. These top 8 decks are going to be a bit different from the meta. In fact, here is what the meta looks like right now. This is a graph from a Japanese player, and he constantly updates it every week since BP05 release. Obviously, there's no Blazer decks yet because as of this video coming out, the Blazer UD01 has just came out, and these data have yet to reflect those data yet. But we can truly see that Jimmy's deck was ahead of its time. He really did predict the meta accordingly 1 week into BP05's release, and he destroyed all of us. I would also like to mention the balancing team for this card game is actually doing a pretty splendid job. For a new mechanic to exist and not completely overpower the old mechanics, as you can see, Arc Dyna is still very relevant, and even some of the top 8 has cards that has no level 4 at all, such as our Mabius Zack, our Ginga Victory, and even the Gaia Arguls. Not to mention, even though there is the PR card of Zeton, it is not simply overpowering the rest of the meta. I really would like to thank Tsuburaya or whatever divisions that's in charge of the card game, because it just goes to show that although the new set is meta defining, you can still play other cards in order to win, which is what I truly enjoy in a card game. Even though from BP01 to BP04, there were tons of mistakes, such as Mabius Reign in meta and Baltan's Reign in meta, this is the first time in a long time the Ultraman card game has felt so alive and vibrant. I hope they can keep up the good work. Thank you for watching this video. This is actually my first video and my first try into content creation for the UCG. As I'm a player myself, I really wanted to increase the number of content that was in the UCG. Thus, I made this adventure. I know there is a lot of problems with audio and visuals and editing, but if you do enjoy this kind of video, remember to like, comment, and maybe subscribe, and maybe I'll do more of this kind of content in the future. Thank you.